My Time Podcast with Asher Tchoua.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Glad to be here. This is exciting.
How are you today?
I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good. It's a nice sunny day, so just trying to relax and get some stuff done.
Awesome. It's funny, I came across your profile through my friend Theo Brown, and he liked one of the posts that you'd posted, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I got to scrolling a little bit, and I was like, this is an interesting person. I'd like to talk with her.
Yeah, I'm very excited about it, and just taking the time to look through your podcast and listen to it. I'm just like, I feel that, the things that you talk about in your focus and what my focus is, it's very much aligned. And so I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. Well, go ahead and tell the people who is it that you say you are?
Okay. So, well, my name is LaPora, and my focus is really just to bring awareness to the individuals who are in the positions where perhaps it's more of a lower visibility role, or a role where it is underappreciated. And we see these people every single day and they work so hard, and yet and still they don't get, in my opinion, the honor that they deserve. And so my goal is just to really to work with those people, to work alongside them, and to let them know how invaluable they really are to society as a whole.
Awesome. How is it? How did you decide on this for yourself? Because, like you said, our missions definitely align. Our viewpoint are very similar.
Mhm. Um, well, for your goal is about, taking the everyday people, right,
Mhm.
and being able to acknowledge them. And for me, I feel like for the people that I'm trying to bring that attention to, they are the everyday people. They're not necessarily the people that you're going to see with, all of the likes, or in the magazine, or whatever the case may be. They're going to be the people that are, um, perhaps a little bit, um, they may feel unseen and unheard. And
Mm.
it's really just about bringing forward that voice
Right.
so that it can be elevated, because there's a lot of people that we see every day, but we need to hear from them more often. So it's really about being able to bring that to the forefront.
Got you. Did you ever find yourself in that position as one of those people?
Yes, I can't say yes enough. I mean, I'm still in that position. That's the thing. It's not something that I'm necessarily trying to get out of. Like,
Hmm.
it's about just being able to find the power in where you are, in not looking to necessarily to be elevated in order for your voice to be more heard, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
It's just about, wherever you're positioned, everybody has the ability to make impact,
Right.
but it takes sometimes people understanding that, the power that they have, being able to understand what they are capable of, being able to get a hold of that internal narrative to say, you know what, yeah, I got this. I can make impact in somebody's life just doing what I'm doing, right? Doing what I do in everyday life. I can make impact.
Right.
And so that's my goal, is to get out there and to let those people know, those everyday people know, that what you have is so wonderful. It's so great. But it's time for you to tap into that and start utilizing that ability that you have.
Right. That's awesome. I like the analogy that you showed in one video where it was like you had the water bottle with all the mess. And you're like, all you got to do, it's like, it's okay if you've got that on there, but you got to take the lid off, because at the same time you might think you're protecting yourself. You're also kind of keeping yourself from being blessed and being able to receive the goodness that can come in, and then all the junk that you might have within can come out.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely, Asher. And with that, it gets really scary, right? Because people start to think that, hey, well, I don't want to take that cap off. I don't want to take that lid off, because then anything can get to me. Like, I have the potential to be harmed. And you know what? You're right. You do. You absolutely do. But there's no possible way to grow if we keep ourselves with that lid on. There's nothing else we can do. We are 100% guaranteed to do nothing.
Mhm.
As long as we keep that lid on. So yeah, take it off and just keep moving forward.
Y- Did you in your life, did you have a moment like that that was the lit off moment, or did somebody come into like your circle to be like, hey, like you really got something here, you need to live it up a little bit?
Yeah. So it was probably a mixture of all those things. It probably boiled down to, honestly, obviously I'm a bald woman, bald Black woman, right? But I wasn't. I've struggled with alopecia areata since I was 14 years old, which is essentially where bald patches just, I just wake up and my hair is bald.
Mm,
And sometimes my hair will go back and then sometimes it will fall out. I went through this particular, what I'll call a flare up, where like my hair was just going bald, 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 but I did not want to let go of my hair. I
mm,
wanted to keep it on my head. And so I wore wigs all the time.
mm.
And one day I'm dropping off my son off at daycare. And the next thing I know, my wig is off, is not on my head. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like what's going on? And there were cameras in the building. So I could
Ooh.
just imagine that people were probably like laughing at it and just like, this is hilarious, the lady's wig. But, anyways, my wig ended up being on the wall hook behind me. And I put it back on. My son thought it was hilarious, the whole situation. But I started to really think about that whole situation, not about necessarily losing my wig on my head, but just the fact that I was wearing it at all.
Mm,
Me wearing it had a lot to do with me thinking that I could control what other people thought about me, that I could control their thoughts. And it also had a lot to do with making me feel comfortable. The wig itself was not comfortable, it was
mhm,
very, but just me thinking that, if I wear this wig, then I'm beautiful by society standard. If I wear this wig, then I have the power. If I wear this wig, my kids won't be embarrassed. And not that they were with me
mhm.
being bald, and not that my husband was with me being bald, but those were the thoughts that I was convincing myself of why I needed to wear that wig. But when I finally made the decision to get rid of it, to take it
Mhm.
off my head and just be done with it, it literally opened up a whole new world for me, where I realized, well, gosh, if I could do that, like what else can I do? And I started to see opportunities that were coming. I started to try other things a little bit more, because I was no longer concerned about the unspoken thoughts and opinions of others, where to the point where it controlled my life, because it was controlling my life.
Mm.
And so just getting past that. And so that was my stance of taking my cap off. It was really just me taking off my wig, but it was powerful for me.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's that's amazing. I mean it's it's cool that you acknowledge that, because obviously as we're talking, it's like I'm sure people like you mentioned before, people may mention something, and also for women, like their hair is like a big thing that either they make a big deal out of, or the society around you makes a big deal out of.
Right.
And it's amazing to see that just from that incident you became more aware of like, like, am I gaining something from doing this, or like am I really kind of shortchanging myself?
Yes, yes, absolutely. And that's one thing that I would encourage people to think about. Like, when it gets to the point where it's good to listen to other people, to take, to listen to their advice if they have it, sprinkle some salt on it, whatever the case may be. That's great.
Mhm.
And I recommend that. But when it gets to the point where other people's advice, other people's opinions, other people's thoughts, when that controls what you do more so than what you want to do it yourself,
Mhm.
it's time to take a step back and to reevaluate why. Why is that the case? Why am I allowing, whether they say it or not, why am I allowing that to control what I do,
Right.
instead of thinking for myself and making those decisions based off of what's best for me?
Man, that's good. So what part of the world are you in?
I'm in Maryland. I'm
Okay.
in Southern Maryland right now, and I'll be here for a couple weeks. And it is very isolated, to say the least. I'm sure a lot of people like it. I like to be a little bit closer to the city, um,
Gotcha.
but we are quite distant from that. So
So you're, I guess, would that be technically outside of the DMV area?
we're technically in the DMV area
Okay.
because of DC, Maryland, and Virginia. But I feel like we are in our own state.
Mm. Because it's so far removed from the city.
Yes, absolutely. But we're DMV.
Gotcha. Awesome. So you said you're there just for a few weeks. What brought you out that way?
Life, my husband's position, but we're getting ready to transition here shortly, um, to a different state, getting ready to transition into New Jersey. So I'm
Mm.
very excited about the change, even though it looks like we'll relatively be far from city life.
Hmm.
It's still closer.
Yeah.
I just need closer, anywhere closer.
Jersey is a nice city. I've just visited it one time. I didn't know for a while back that Newark was a place. I thought people were just mispronouncing New York.
Yes, yes, yeah. I've heard that before, as far as that mispronunciation there. Mhm.
Gotcha. But I see you're looking to write a self-help book. So is that part of your background, being an author and just speaking life into people?
So yeah, I've always written things, whether it be poetry or articles. Never a book have I written. Well, when I was a little kid, I wrote my little kid books. um, but yeah, I'm a life skills coach, educator, and that's something that I'm extremely passionate about, is being able to help people, right? And with this book, it's utilizing my skills that I've written a lot of articles for professional and personal development,
Mhm.
and I just feel like I have a lot more to say, and why not put it in a book,
Right.
right? I'm actually I'm attempting to take the traditional publishing route first. So I'm working on a book proposal, and hopefully in the next um, couple of weeks or so, I should be finishing up with that, and then looking for literary agents and looking for publishers and all that fun business stuff that comes with helping people. Right? It's just being able to get it out there and to put it on the market. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited. I really am excited about it.
That's awesome. It's funny. I think I've met a few publishers or people kind of in that space. So if you get hung up, I might be able to connect you.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
You're kind of all gross. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. So you said as being a life skills coach, what does that look like for you?
So, life skills coaching for me is focusing in on self awareness and self management.
Hmm.
So, being aware of what works for us, being aware of your strengths and your weaknesses, because sometimes people oversell themselves, but a lot of times people also undersell themselves.
Hmm.
And so just being aware of where that lies within you, and understanding if you have any potential triggers or things that could upset you, or whatever the case may be. That self-management piece is, you've heard of classes like anger management,
Hmm.
stress management, communication. So after I'm able to help people identify, or become more aware of themselves, then being able to take that next step to help them manage uh, those particular areas. And there's a lot more as well, but just as a general gist, that's generally what that boils down to.
Awesome. Have you have you used tools like DISC, Meyer Briggs, or those types of tests and assessments?
Yes, Myers-Briggs and emotional intelligence
Mm.
assessments as well, just to be able to figure out. So I am INTP, which is essentially I'm an introverted person, and I think a lot. Like I spend a lot of time thinking in my head.
Hmm.
Um, Book text wise, INTPs aren't very empathetic, right? But that's where the emotional intelligence comes into play,
Right.
because INTP is more personality based, but then you also have emotional intelligence, which is essentially learning how to be more self aware, the self management, but also the other aspect of that is that social competence, which is learning how to be aware of others and
Mm.
being able to combine your your awareness and your management along with what you're seeing in others to be able to have a effective relationship.
Got you. Can you break down? You said INTPs.
Yes,
Got
INTP.
you.
So
Because
really
I
logical thinker.
before you go into it, like I just came across it because my podcast, the name it's my time podcast, so it's abbreviated IMTP. So whenever I tried looking it up online to make sure things post like on YouTube, I started running into this thing saying INTP, and then I saw someone that was I guess you could say almost robotic like, but I could empathize with what he was saying because I was like, it's weird that they almost fit into each other. And I didn't mean to do that intentionally, but I'm like, oh, okay, I guess that makes sense. Like we do need a little bit of nudge here and there.
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. So with that, there are, oh my gosh, I'm so terrible about counting, so I may get these numbers wrong.
Okay.
Let's see. I want to say 8 different types, and I don't want to go into each and every one of them, but
Hmm.
you have the I, but you also have the E, which is extroverted, and then the I is the introverted. I'm introverted. And then you also have intuitive or a feeler, you have judgmental, you have perceived, and I just said I wasn't going to go into each of them, but here I am.
I,
you have
do your thing. Do your thing.
you have a thinker and sensing. You have sensing as well. So sensing and then the thinking. So for me, I am an introvert.
Mhm.
I am intuitive. I am a thinker, and I am a perceiver. So generally, people who have those four are more so of the analytical thinkers, logical. There's a whole list of things that you can, as you've probably run into as you're looking this up, that different sites may explain it slightly different ways. But on the baseline level, we're like logical, we're thinkers, we stay in our heads a lot. And that's what I am. I do stay in my head. And there's certain where we are more so reserved as well. But with that, that doesn't mean that just because you're INTP or whatever the case may be, that that's the only way that you would remain, because there are other aspects as well, such as I mentioned, with emotional intelligence, which is really just about having your self-awareness, but also that other awareness. And that is something that can continuously grow as you learn more about yourself and as you take what you're learning about yourself and learning about others and applying that to whatever professional or personal relationship that you're in.
That makes sense. So the acronym itself, INTP, is it short or an abbreviation for something?
Yes, it's the introverted, intuitive, thinker, and perceiver.
Oh, okay. Got you.
And then you'll have like an extrovert, which is, well, an extrovert, you may have like an ESFJ,
Hmm.
which is extroverted, sensor, filler, or feelings, and a judger. So, or judging. So those are together, those are all of the letters, but that is the exact opposite letters of each of mine. So each of those 4 letters represent a particular personality trait about you, or anyone for that matter, if you're taking the Myers-Briggs.
Got you. So all of those letters they come from the Meyer-Briggs, and I guess however it spells out for you, that's kind of like your go-to category.
Yes, yes. And sometimes you'll take one assessment and you may get, 4 letters, and then you'll take another assessment here and you may get another 4 letters. So, I mean, there's going to be, of course, some shift there, just really depending on where your mindset is. No one
Mm.
is this way all the time.
Right, right,
Where are you most of the time? Is
right.
probably the best way to look at it.
Got you. That makes sense. Um, Something I guess I haven't trained in Meyer-Briggs per se, but I've come across the DISC assessment, and something that I learned this year using the Advanced Insights profile. It's like it takes the DISC index, the values, and the attributes, which measures like how a person decides to display their behavior. and
Mhm.
then you have the values, which is like what motivates you, and then the attributes show how you process information based on what you see, either externally and internally. But a big thing that was shared with me in the learning of this was that um, the assessments aren't necessarily meant to show who you are, but how you are, and like how you decide to display the information that you have within. Because I think I've seen a lot of people where it's almost whether they get diagnosed with autism, which doesn't have anything to do with the assessment, but whether it's like autism, ADHD, whatever um, label we tend to place on things. Some people might wear it as like a badge of honor or like a scarlet letter, where it's like, oh, well, I'm this. I guess I'm never going to be anything because somebody told me I was labeled in this way. But um, correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like as a life skills coach, you're helping people to identify what they have and how they can leverage it or kind of work with it, or kind of, like you said, identifying those strengths and weaknesses, and knowing where it's like you're overdoing it or you're underdoing it, and kind of getting you back in alignment with where you need to be.
Yes, no, absolutely. And you brought up a really good point, and that is, I think I kind of alluded to this before. Like, you can take, these assessments, and it's going to, have, okay, so this is maybe what people may label you as, but at the end of the day, any particular assessment can change at any time, and then it's just about understanding where you are right then at that moment, and being able to focus on how you can improve that,
Mm.
because there's always room for improvement. There is, in my opinion, like, I am a lifelong learner. I don't ever want to be in a place where I feel that, oh, I know everything. Anybody tell me nothing, because that's a very dangerous place, in my opinion. So yes, absolutely. That's my role, is just being able to help people identify that, and to also understand that identifying it, like, if you identify that there's five different things that you need to work on, and maybe somebody else identified that there's one, who cares? It does not in any way affect the value that you bring to the table at all. What affects the value that you bring is the value that you bring, right? It's just being able to, if you're deciding, hey, this is what I want to bring, then you bring that. Absolutely. Give it your all. And I'm so passionate about it because so many people don't see, like, how, like, what potential they have, how valuable they are. And
Mhm.
they do label themselves and say, well, this is me. And so, kind of, that scarlet letter, put the big A here.
Right,
But it's so much more than that, so much more than that.
right,
And just being able to break through that self-awareness, and then be able to manage those expectations where they can move past that, those limitations or those limiting beliefs.
right. That's awesome. I always hear people make the comparison of, or the saying where they say everybody wants to be like Mike, and then it's like, well, everybody can't be Mike. Everybody isn't like 6'5" or 6'8", like being able to dunk or something like that. But something I heard someone say that kind of puts things in a different perspective is that there would be no um, record holders if there wasn't somebody keeping the records. If there was never anybody documenting the things, the people that stay in their heads, the people that are like filming, the people in the background you never see that decide like, hey, let's capture this moment, or let's um, clean up the area where everybody else is going to have this show. Otherwise, it's like, there's not going to be much show. It's like, why is the stage all messed up? It's like, well, nobody took care of it last time.
Yes, yes, absolutely. That's what it's about. Those are the people, those everyday people
Mhm.
that a lot of times we, like, society was just like, but you need them.
Yeah,
They're so important, so valuable, so essential. So you need them.
awesome. How long have you been able to be in this space?
So I have been in this space for about 10 years in some aspect or another,
Mm.
just building up to where I am today. Again, I'm always about learning. So just different elements that I've just kind of picked up along the way, as far as with understanding, oh, well, okay, like I know somebody who didn't necessarily achieve that, but in my eyes, I think that they are pretty important. And then
Mhm.
just taking that and then just taking, being familiar with pop culture and seeing what society, valorizes as seeing like, oh my gosh, this is so wonderful. But I don't necessarily get that all the time. I don't feel that. And so just being able to take all of those different scenarios, all of those different experiences, all of those different feelings that I've gathered, and all of that has just brought me to this point. Losing my wig, it's all brought me to this point
Mhm.
I am today. And I just hope that I can continue to grow and improve and to learn more and to share more, because I think it's so very important to do that.
That's awesome. It's like I guess I'd say at this point you're a veteran in the game. I'm just a spring chicken getting into it.
Let's say mid-level.
Got you. The uh, what's 2021 been like for you so far? Like given the whole last year that everybody went through.
uh, 2020 has been unexpectedly unexpectedly insightful. There are a lot of things that I did not plan to do. Like last year in 2020, I did not plan to do a lot of things that I'm doing in 2021, but it's happening.
Mhm.
It's just really about me, again, learning even more so how to step out of my comfort zone, how to keep
Mhm.
moving forward, how to keep pressing forward. And I'm discovering so much about myself, about
Mhm.
others, about what I feel is more valuable, being able to get, hear what other people have to say about it, connecting with other people such as yourself
Mhm.
who are on that same page, who are in that, going through that same, like, this is what's important, this is what's valuable. And so yeah, I would say unexpectedly insightful for 2021, and I hope that it continues to be, because I'm loving the surprises. Started off rough, but I'm loving
Yeah,
the surprises so far. Yeah.
got you. So, so 2021 started off rough coming off of 2020, or 2020 started off rough?
Oof. Both.
Both? Okay.
I think they both had their rough starts. And every year is going to have that.
Mhm.
I just think that it was probably a little bit more exacerbated because it was at home. Like every day is the same Groundhog Day for 365 days. Um, and then you have like any particular issue that our country is facing. I feel like it's just so, like, it was so, like, so much to deal with at that time, with already being, I have my husband, I have my family, but with already being mildly isolated, it was just elevated. Any
Yeah.
emotions that were felt were just all elevated. And and so it was hard, and then getting over that, and then starting 2021 with the same thing again. It's just like, okay, I can't.
Right.
This is a lot. This is a lot to deal with. But in the midst of all of those elevated issues, I do feel that it has been beneficial not only for myself but for a large community. And so for that, I'm very grateful.
That's awesome. So, as the year of 20, I wouldn't say as the year wraps up, it almost feels like it's wrapping up, but as I guess we're over halfway through the year, I know you said a big thing that you're looking forward to is getting the book done, and looking for the next people on the steps, either the editors or the publishers and things of that sort. What's something else that you're looking forward to wrapping up the year with?
A vacation. Does that count?
Yes, that counts.
A vacation for sure. Just being able to, I mean, because life could be so fleeting if we just like, got to get the book done. I got still got my 9 to 5 job. Got to get
Mhm.
that too. I'm a wife and I'm a mother and I'm a sister, I'm a daughter, I'm blah blah, like this, and this. And you just get, sometimes people get so focused on getting stuff done to be the best for everybody else,
Mhm.
but we forget to be the best version of ourselves. And I am the best version of myself when I can just relax. So just being able to have a vacation sounds amazing. If that is how I can end the year 2021, let's do it.
Awesome. What would be one or two of your favorite, your number one, your what would be your number one pick?
A cruise. That's why I said the end of 2021. It would be so nice to get on a cruise ship with the family and to just chill. We've done it once before, and this was years ago. And it would be nice to just do that again and to just have very little worries
Mhm.
about scheduling things, making an agenda, just waking up when we wake up. Well, the kids will probably wake up early, but waking up when we wake up and then just moving forward and just enjoying the day and enjoying the moment for what
Right.
it is. So, yeah, say cruise, and I don't know what, I don't care about the other one. It's if it's a vacation, I'll take it. Uh,
Gotcha.
cruise for one, cruise for one.
Nice. And you mentioned your 9 to 5 briefly. What is it that you do, if you don't mind me asking?
Sure, I'm a life skills educator.
Okay.
Train.
Oh, okay. So that is the 9 to 5.
Well, it's different. So
Okay.
I have my 9 to 5 life skills educator. This is the curriculum that I am expected to teach. And then I also have my own personal development journey where outside of that 9 to 5, this is what I'm giving of myself in order to help others
Mm,
with the trainings and curriculums that I develop. So,
gotcha.
two different, but
Right.
the same job, which I'm really grateful for. In all honesty, that my 9 to 5 job does mirror my side job.
Right.
I'm very, very grateful for that because I know for a lot of people that's not necessarily the case.
Right.
I'm a life skills coach. I'm a life skills coach. Doesn't matter. I do it all the time.
Yeah. That's
Really.
awesome. It's like you don't have to like divide your attention. You can be one place, and now it's just like, well, I'm teaching this group, now I'm teaching this group, or I'm teaching this client.
Yes, absolutely. Exactly.
Awesome.
Like, really grateful, and I feel blessed to be able to have that one hat that I can wear in multiple locations.
Nice. So do you work with children or adults or both?
I work with adults. I feel like I do better with adults and then teens as
Mm,
well. I feel like those are two, like, my people. I have smaller kids, but
mm.
I can't work with the smaller children. That's,
You're like, I'm dealing with my own, and that's it. That's the cutoff. Like,
yeah, maybe one day I'll get there. 'Cause I'm all
right.
about, but today is not that day. So adults and teens,
Right.
that's my jam. Yeah.
Awesome. But so far, has it been still within that 10-year time frame that you've been able to um, work with adults in the life skill space?
Yes. Well, more so on primarily focused on self-awareness
Mm,
is the space that I've been in, and communication and being able to help people with developing better communication skills.
mhm,
And then more recently, I would say in the past 5 years, so half of that time, I've been more focused on that self-management aspect with the stress management and the anger management, effective parenting. All of those particular life skills has been more so of my core focus. So I've
mm,
shifted slightly, and then throughout all of that, with helping people just to understand their worth, because career focus is a really big, even though life skills education is my primary, career
mhm.
focus is also something that I'm extremely passionate about, and I feel that it does tie in to life skills, because undervaluing yourself and overvaluing, when you're doing that resume, a lot of people, they, it's about striking that balance,
It's
right?
like, no way, they wouldn't.
Striking that balance that way, and also when you're going into interview, being able to correctly sell yourself
Mhm.
in a way, but again, that comes after you have that self-awareness and then being able to manage that, however that is manifested, just being able to get that out. But they are very closely related, and they're both near and dear to my heart.
Gotcha. That's amazing. What I guess with um how would you say, with how things kind of have switched back and forth from last year to this year, have you seen a lot more people come your way, whether it's people not being able to work locally or now that things kind of open back up, um, like wanting to get back out there and kind of pursue opportunities?
I would say for me personally, it may just be my particular location. I'm isolated.
Hmm.
But I've seen it moving steady. It
Hmm.
did increase initially when COVID hit
Hmm.
March of last year, once things started to shut down. And it maintained its steadiness throughout 2020.
Hmm.
It's tapered off just a little bit, but for the most part, it's just been a steady influx of some, 1 week you have a lot of people that are really interested and they're wanting to get assistance, and the next I'm just like, well, are we still dealing with this issue because I'm not seeing anybody.
Right.
So it's a steady influx, which I know is a very counterintuitive statement, but it's
Gotcha.
steady influx. Yeah.
Hmm. So I guess would you, in that case, would you get a lot of like turnover from people having that initial interest, but then people kind of being worried, like, I really don't want to go be around people, or maybe I'll find something virtual and be able to work it that way and just be like, hey, I still have value in this sense because I can still do the work needed.
Yes, that is for sure just going upwards as far as with a lot of people that are not wanting to work in person. They're
Hmm.
wanting the virtual route, and they're feeling like they are qualified enough to be able to find those opportunities.
Hmm.
The flip side, there's a lot of companies and organizations that are out there that are providing those opportunities because they know that there's a lot of qualified people out there who don't want to work in a building. Well, in an office building, they want to work in their home, or maybe in a remote office where they can occasionally go in and have like the little office work hubs. Um, so yeah, a lot of people are doing that, and I'm not mad at them for doing it. Honestly,
Hmm.
it's I think for a lot of companies, it's been long overdue to have that as an opportunity to work in that particular, or to have that particular opportunity available for people to work from home. So I'm happy for that change and that new trend.
Right. That that makes sense. I guess they say as the world turns, we've got to turn with it.
Yep, or get lost. Like either one, like you choose.
Well, I won't keep you too much longer, but I very much appreciate your time. I appreciate you jumping on. Is there anything you'd like to leave the people with, or where should they keep an eye out for your book and just following you online?
So for now, if people could just, excuse me, continue to just follow me on Instagram. That is, I am new to Instagram, but I'm slowly trying to build up some momentum there, because that's where I am. Um, just keeping track of the whole journey that with writing this book, and the journey of just being able to explore the opportunities and the challenges that come with it. And eventually, very soon, I will be launching my own web page.
Mm.
But they're only going to find out if they follow me on Instagram. So go to Instagram. I'm also on LinkedIn, and I'm happy to connect with people there as well. And just if there's anybody that I can help, feel free to send me a message, DM. I guess that's the saying, right? Send me a direct message and let me know how I can help. I'm all about engaging with people, starting those conversations, being able to help motivate, and whatever I can do to be of assistance, I really want to be there. So that's all I have to say. And thank you so much for this opportunity to be on this podcast. I have thoroughly enjoyed myself here today. So thank you so much for that.
You're very welcome. Thank you for joining me. And I believe your Instagram will be just your name,
Yes,
LaPora Lindsey.
yes, that's it. I'm not nothing fancy.
Awesome. Hey, simple does it best. Well, thank you for your time. I hope to speak with you again soon. Take care and have a great week.
Thanks. You too. Bye.
Bye.
This is the It's My Time podcast with Asher Tchoua.